Hey everybody, Martin here, and I just wanted to do a quick video to talk to you a little bit about card alignment, front-back card alignment. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and use this game that I'm working on now called Snapshot. So these are some of the print and play cards that I've just recently made. Now, this is a quick build. This is a preview prototype. This is not a final build yet, so I wanted to do it quickly. So I laid this out. I laid the print and play file out in what's called a 9-card grid on a sheet of US letter. So you've probably seen this before where you have 9 cards on one sheet of US letter paper. And if you're using A4 paper, that's pretty much all that you could fit as well, 9 cards in a grid with the cards in portrait orientation or standing up lengthwise, right? Now the problem with that layout is that if you have no gutter or space between, like a colored space between the card images, and if your printer isn't printing 100% aligned front and back of the same paper, if we're doing double-sided printing, then you're gonna have like extra. Well, I'll just show you. So here are some, and let me show you here. So you can see here, this is a card that didn't have like gutter, or some people call it bleed, on the back, and so you'll see that there's a strip of the color of the card that was beside it in the layout. Here's another one, right? And here's, now if it's a card at the edge, then you're going to have a white kind of strip. Here's another. So you'll see that every one of the reference cards that I didn't bother to put any kind of bleed or gutter. People call the same thing different things, so it gets kind of confusing. But anyway, space allowance between the cards has some kind of alignment issue. And like I said, I don't really care. Like for me, this is just a prototype, a quick build. So I'm willing to live with this stuff. If this was a final build, then it would be a different story. And then here are some of the animal cards. Now this had more allowance, but the cards at the edges, you see here, have some kind of white, kind of just a little bit of strip of white, because they were at the edge and there's still some little bit of alignment mismatch. Although it's not as obvious, it's not as bad as these cards here, where you have pretty significant, what is that, like 5 millimeters or less, 5 millimeters, I don't know, like maybe like 1 or 2 millimeters of kind of the neighboring card color and design showing. Now, of course, the front, because I cut these things from the front, there was no issues whatsoever. The alignment on the front is, the cutting alignment on the front is perfect. So only issues on the back of the card. And over here, once again, the front alignment is pretty much perfect because I designed these cards to be cut from the front. So the front looks awesome. And there's only slight issues on the back here, if you will. Again, I don't care because this is a prototype. If this was a final build, then I would have laid these out, kind of spent more time laying these out in a proper way. But here's what I wanted to point out. Despite the fact that this was a quick build, I wasn't really paying that much attention to, alignment or anything like that. The vast majority of the cards, if you can see here, let me put these here. The vast majority of the cards, like this one in my right hand, came out still perfectly aligned from my printer when I cut them. And let me show you that right now. You're looking at the card backs, and there's pretty much no alignment issues, as you can see here, for the vast majority of the cards. So, yeah, even with a 9-card grid, and you'll notice I put a little bit of blue space around each card here. But even with a 9-card grid, at least with my printer, and remember, there's individual differences between individual printers. So not all printers will operate in the same kind of predictable manner. Like you could have the same HP OfficeJet Pro 9018 model that I do, and yet it could have a completely different operation. Because when you're talking about like the mechanical pinch rollers and when they grab the paper and how they grab the paper and how soon they grab the paper and how fast it goes through, there's a lot of variables, right? So you can buy the same printer and get different performances, and so you really have to like get to know your printer, get to know how it misaligns, how much it misaligns. You actually have to get a millimeter ruler, and you have to measure things painstakingly, both on the printout and on the screen. You have to do test printouts to be able to figure out exactly how your printer misaligns and what you need to do to adjust for that in your print and play files. But for me, like I said, and ultimately, I wanted to make this video to assure you that even if you're just doing a 9-card grid with not much attention to bleed, you're still going to have, I think, if you're like me, the vast majority of your cards will have no issues whatsoever here on the right side. They're going to be 100% aligned front and back. And what is this? Maybe 20-25% of your cards, at least in this case, have some type of kind of alignment issue on the back. But even then, these aren't severe alignment issues. They're most noticeable on cards that were beside other cards that had like some sort of design on it. And you can see here it's most noticeable. But on these cards that had basically these were on the edges, the white edges. These were the edges of the layout. These thin white strips, yeah, you're noticeable. I don't really care. I can live with these, especially for this prototype build like I'm talking about. But it depends on how particular you are. It depends on how sensitive you are. Like some people could be looking at this video going, "Oh no way! I will not. I would have to redo those however many cards you're holding in your hand right now, Martin. I wouldn't be able to live with that." And there are some people that are like that, and you know what? That's fine for you. That's how you kind of look at it. But as for me, I am okay with this kind of small, to me, relatively small level of lack of alignment for the convenience and like how basically this is something that I designed yesterday morning. By yesterday afternoon, I already had cards. So this was a really, really fast build. And even then, it kind of struck me just how the vast majority of the cards, like I said, still came out with great alignment, perfect alignment, if you will. Okay, so that's really all I wanted to say in this video. And we're going to post it, and then we're going to share it to the Hideaway. Thanks for watching. Until next time, this has been Martin. I'll see ya.